Remains ordinary if you are unable to work hard on your dreams. If you aren't determined to get there, you won't. I never knew my destination. I can't even claim to know it today. I wanted to be a sportsman, represent India hopefully as a hockey or a cricket player or an athlete. Suddenly I hurt my back, didn't have the resources to get the best treatment in the world. I'm a living proof of an accident movie star / entrepreneur / speaker at an IIM gathering. I realize now that hurting my back wasn't an accident. Being here, speaking to you all, is the larger, happier accident. Now that I'm on the cover of Forbes India, is that where I wanted to be as a businessman? Quantifiable goals are indeed illusions. The only reality actually is
But 20 years ago in the movies, roles were very clearly defined. They provided the security of your stardom in a sense. If you'd been successfully playing an angry young man, you'd pretty much be angry and young for the rest of your life. If you'd been a police inspector in 3 movies, odds were you'd be in the next 33 too. This applied to female actresses also. Wives were wives, seductresses were seductresses, mother-in-laws were mother-in-laws, and so on and so forth. Few actors would have willingly switched from romantic heroes to obsessively violent lovers. I took the leap not because I was particularly brave, but because a very dear director friend of mine sat me down and told me I was extremely ugly. And being ugly necessarily meant, I know. And being ugly necessarily meant I do bad guy roles. I wasn't the romantic hero types, he said. Actually, he used the words that my face was not chocolatey enough. So I started to eat a lot of chocolate. And while waiting for it to take effect, I jumped into bad guy roles. Dar means fear in Hindi, and everyone always tells you at speeches like this that you ought to be brave, so I'm not going to bore you with that idea. Instead, let me tell you this. Being brave means being shit scared all the way to the party. Yeah, I'm sorry if that word is being very scared all the way to the party. But getting there all the same and doing the funky chicken in front of all your teenage kids' friends anyway. Let me just add on behalf of all the fathers of the world who have embarrassed their kids by doing this, it takes a lot of bravery, resolve, and grit to do it. So just do it. Don't let your fears become boxes that enclose you. Open them out, feel them, and turn them into the greatest courage you are capable of. I promise you, nothing will go wrong. But if you live by your fears, everything that can possibly go wrong will go wrong. And you won't even have done the funky chicken. And while we were talking about fears and bravery, let me also add this, that all the planning in the world won't take you where you want to go. And it's fine not to know what you want to be 20 years from now. Most of those who had it all figured out become bankers anyway.
I've never set one, goals that is. I have never set out to earn a particular amount, to count the crores at the box office, or to compare my worth with anyone else's. In fact, I would go as far as saying that quantifiable goals are indeed illusions. The only reality actually is hard work. Diligence is imperative to both creativity and leadership. Making the mistake of thinking that your dreams will take flight without you having to flap madly at those wings to get up into the sky is plain silly. In my experience, it's great to delegate, but there's no shortcut to working hard. To know and to understand what you're doing, to be open to learning about it and from it, every single moment requires diligence. It requires work. If you want to excel at something, there shouldn't be a single person around you who can claim to be more familiar with this mechanics than you are. It's non-negotiable to strive and to be familiar with your own trade, with your own work. Life remains ordinary if you are unable to sustain the capacity to work hard on your dreams. If you aren't determined to get there, you won't. And this is a paradoxical thing, because I've heard many people say that you need to know where you're going to be determined about reaching there, but it hasn't been the case with me. I never knew my destination. I can't even claim to know it today. Now that I'm on the cover of Forbes India, Is that where I wanted to be as a businessman? My IPL team has won the championship and is profitable. Is that the dream I had for a sporting franchise venture? I have a film running in a cinema hall for the last 20 years. Should that be the attempt in terms of achievement for my next film? No, I don't think so. I believe goals actually limit our ambitions and desire. I don't mean that don't have goals, but call them mere milestones. Think of them as a passing moment of excellence and keep on striving harder for a place which cannot be defined or confined by names or numbers. I have never set goals, but I have truly never done a single thing that I wasn't determined to do the best at. I had no idea where it would take me for the most part of it, but I had the idea that I would do whatever it was with a determination that would scare everyone else away.
A fiendish friend called failure. Whether I like it or not, my life has also been in constant play with what the world calls success. Success is a wonderful thing, but it tends not to be the sort of experience that we learn from. We enjoy it, perhaps we even deserve it, but we don't acquire wisdom from it. And maybe that's why it cannot be passed on either. Me being successful does not mean my kids are going to be successful, even if I teach them everything that I know and how to do it. So I feel that talking about success is completely a big waste of time. Instead, let me tell you very honestly, whatever happened to me happened because I've always been terrified of failure. I don't want as much to succeed as much as I don't want to fail. I come from a very normal, lower middle class family. I saw a lot of failure. My father was a beautiful man and the most successful failure in the world. My mother also failed to stay long enough with me to see me become a big movie star. We were quite poor, actually, and let me tell you, poverty is not an ennobling experience at all. Poverty entails fear and stress and sometimes depression. I watched my parents go through this several times. At an early age, after my parents died, I equated poverty with failure. I just didn't want to be poor. So when I got a chance to act in films, it wasn't out of any creative desire. I say this honestly. It was purely out of the fear of failure and poverty. Most of the films I signed were discards of better-known actors, and the producers could not find anyone else to do them. I did them all to make sure that I was working to avoid unemployment. The timing or something was right. I worked very hard. There were other people around it. And I became a big star. The films became big hits, which means sometimes our success is not the direct result of our actions. And let nobody tell you that. Success sometimes just happens, really. It is accidental, and we have to take credit for it. I do it sometimes sheerly out of embarrassment. So I believe the true path to success is through the fear of failure. If you aren't scared enough of failing, you're unlikely to succeed. It's not pleasant to fail, it's tough. All of us experience it. You will too, if you haven't already. So use it to succeed. How I've done is, a few points I'd like to say, and then I'll end this monologue. Firstly, it's not the absence of failure that makes you success, that makes success. It is your response to failure that actually helps to buffer the reverses that you experience. I personally have one response to failure: pragmatism. A recognition and belief that if one approach does not work, then the other will or might. Failure also gives me an incentive to greater exertion, harder work, which invariably leads to later success in most cases. Repeated failure has taught me to stop pretending I'm someone else. It's given me the clarity to stick to things that really matter to me instead of distracting me from my core. Failure also gets you to find who your real friends are. The true strength of your relationships only gets tested in the face of strong adversity. Overcoming some of my failures has made me discover that I have a strong will and more discipline than I suspected. It has helped me to have confidence in my ability to survive. Failure is an amazing teacher. There's a well-known story of this very successful man, and a reporter asked him, "Sir, how is it that you always succeed?" And he said, "Right decisions." I said, "How do you make right decisions?" And he says, "Experience." He says, "How do you get so experienced?" He says, "Wrong decisions and failure." So do fail, and it's all right to fail. You have to know and learn that life is not just a checklist of acquisitions, attainments, and fulfillments. Your qualifications and CVs don't really matter. Instead, life is difficult and complicated and beyond anyone's control. The humility to know it will help you survive its vicissitudes. All the names you give yourself, or those that others call you, are just labels. You're not defined by them, no matter how flattering or uncomplimentary they are. What defines you, genuinely, is your heart. Ask or read about the artist formerly known as Prince, and you'll learn a thing or two from him, if you don't believe this insanely sexy Indian superstar telling you so. But I genuinely say this out of experience, because if I was to go by what I'm called on the social media, I would be an old, desperate, manipulative has-been star who swings both ways, making crap movies. And these are just the good mentions. If you aren't charged about doing something, if you don't have what in Hindi we call josh, the fire in your belly for it, then don't do it. It's a waste of your time and, more importantly, of those who pin their hopes on your endeavors too. Redefine yourself if you have to, but do it on your own terms and just get on with it. In fact, like my character in the movie, my name is Khan, if you've seen it. Don't forget where you came from. Please don't forget where you came from and who you really are. It ought to be the compass by which you navigate through life's vicissitudes. The north that keeps you oriented despite a series of misfortunes or a shower of privilege.
I tell you how I've done it. I did theater, and I truly believe in being very creative, very artistic, and a very serious actor at times. I really do. When I see a lot of work that is being done around by other actors in my own country and outside, I feel envious at times that I've not been able to do that. Because, like you said, when I came on to Mumbai, and I would say this to all the kids, that yes, surviving is the most, that's what the whole speech was, that I'll teach you how to survive. I'm not going to give you any thoughts about that, listen, it's all right to go on top of Himalayas and do your writing, creative writing, whether anyone reads it or not. No, it's important that people read it. It's important it becomes a bestseller. As a matter of fact, I very shamelessly say I am the most capitalist human being that you will ever find on the face of this earth. I truly believe that you need to find a place where you can make the choices that you want to make. You cannot just say, I had a friend who was a creative writer, and who fortunately still is not a lawyer. And he wanted to write books. And he's working here in America, New York actually, Benny. And he asked me one day, his father died, and he said, I want to write books. I want to write creative stuff on spirituality and goodness, and I don't want to write anything else. How am I going to survive? My father's dead, my mother's not being able to look after me. And I said, you go down and start working in an advertising company, where he started writing. I do remember, this is a joke we had in college. I don't know if it is still here. It was an innerwear ad, with a like a Calvin Klein underwear model, and you write, it's for everyone, every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And so, which you say, if you have to write this stuff, you write it, and earn the money, pay your bills. Don't let them cut your oxygen tube out. But after you are in that position of choice, don't misuse it. And that's the one thing that I decided to do. I do a lot of advertising. A lot of people question me on the uncreative bits of work that I do. I think out of 10 things that I do, I think 7 of them are highly uncreative, and very disturbing at times. I have a big bathroom now. I sit there and cry after having done those things. Yeah, I genuinely do, I'm not lying. I want kids to know this, that yeah, I do that. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I take the money from that, and I would like to be able to create a production house, a filmmaking institution, which would do the creative stuff which I wanted to do when I was 25. It may get a little late. It may happen when I'm 50 or 55. It may not have happened when I dreamed of it at 26, 27. But I'm sure that I will make the right choices. So please, all you kids, do not get waylaid by anyone who tells you it's wonderful to be creative and poor and hungry. No. You can't be that. You have to survive. You owe it to your parents. You owe it to your life. Be well, have good cars, have a good television, have 3 PlayStations if you need. But when you get into that position of choice, make sure you don't cheat with your choices.
I'm a living proof of an accident movie star / entrepreneur / speaker at an IIM gathering. I wanted to be a sportsman. Represent India hopefully as a hockey or a cricket player or an athlete. Suddenly I hurt my back, didn't have the resources to get the best treatment in the world. Joined a theatre group to fill in time and overcome my sadness of not being able to play at a professional level. Father died suddenly, and we were evicted from a rented house. Mother went looking for a smaller place, and the property dealer's father-in-law, was making a series called Fauji. My mother sent me to him, and he cast me as Abhimanyu Rai in the serial. Things went ballistic from there, yeah. Things just completely went haywire from there. I got film offers, and one thing led to another, and I became a movie star. And I just want to tell you, by the way, we never took the house from the dealer. So I want to thank him. His name is Dhawan. We used to call him Dhawan Uncle. So Mr. Dhawan, who actually got me on the road to stardom. And and my mother didn't live long enough to see my work either. I realize now that hurting my back wasn't an accident. Being here, speaking to you all, is the larger, happier accident. So destiny plays a part, for sure, and no one can teach us either how to find it or how to chase it. Just like disaster, it will come your way. But if you don't have the courage to ride its waves when it does, it'll toss you right back on the beach, and all you'll get to see is the sunset of a tired and a weary life, plus a very, very sore backside. So I would advise keeping your eyes open for life's magic and not turning away from its citing practicality and good reason. There isn't one. Be brave enough to face your destiny, to sacrifice for it, and compromise for it if you have to. It will always be worth it. To imagine that you know better than life is the silliest and possibly the most costly mistake one can ever make.